Hello and welcome to Rise Unwind. My name is Dan. You know, each and every week we talk to people from across the country about things you could do right now in your neighborhood. And on this week's show, we got this.
Well, when it comes to the stressors, it really comes down to budget as well as the time it takes and just the unexpected nature of home improvements. I mean, you know, a lot of times we don't wake up and say, gosh, I hope my water heater breaks.
You can make boating a part of your life no matter what. Your budget, no matter what kind of lifestyle you enjoy on the water, it is easier and more accessible than ever before to get out on the water.
All of that and more right here on Rise and Unwind. Do you ever wonder what happens when love, family, and small town drama all collide? That's the heart of my life with the Walter Boys. After a whirlwind first season, the story is back with even more twists, tension, and second chances. Joining us are Nikki Rodriguez, Noah LaLonde, and Ashby Gentry, better known as Jackie, Cole, and Alex, to talk about season 2 and now streaming on Netflix. Welcome to the show, you three. How are you?
Thank you.
Doing
So
well.
good.
Good, thank you.
All right. Nikki, your character Jackie went through a lot this season. How does she approach coming back to Silver Falls after spending the summer in New York?
Yeah, I think, when she comes back to Silver Falls this time, I think she's ready to kind of face things head on a little bit. And I think she just wants to be like the perfect version of herself to kind of just make up for her past in a way. So I think that's her overall goal this season.
And Noah, Cole is stepping into a new role at school this season. What's it like to explore that side of him, and how does it affect his relationships?
Yeah, I think it was fascinating to step into that new side of him, because I think it's a version of himself that's taking ownership over his life. After throughout season 1, there was a lot of directing blame on other people and kind of self-sabotaging. So I think, taking ownership of your path and allowing, that growth to happen and start to prepare to be who you want to be for other people in your life, your family, the people who you want to show up for. So that was it was a cool turn to take.
Ashby, and your character, Alex, seemed to have changed a lot since we last saw him. How did you prepare to show that growth, especially with his focus on rodeo training?
Well, I listened to a lot of cowboy podcasts and watched a lot of YouTube videos and walked through the park a lot. And the rest of it, you'll have to see on screen. Yeah.
The show is based on a beloved book, and it's taken a life of its own. What's been like interacting with fans and hearing from them and seeing how connected they are to your characters and the story?
I mean, it's been an absolute dream come true. I think you always hope that you're bringing the character, like you're doing justice in a way. And so it's just been really lovely, the response.
And is there anything that you are expecting or would hope that your audience will take from season 2?
Yeah, of course. I think I hope that they would take it. I hope that they would to take away some of the lessons that are to be yourself, to love hard and love your family, and just know that if tomorrow doesn't work out, the next day is always there.
All right, I want to thank you three for joining me this morning. Season 2 of My Life with the Walter Boys is streaming now on Netflix. Make sure you watch and catch all of the drama that's been unfolding in Silver Falls. Thank you three for joining me.
Thank you. Have a good one.
You may not know his name, but if you've ever watched soccer over the past few years, you've probably seen him. Yassine Cheuko became a familiar face protecting some of the biggest stars in the sport, and with the World Cup excitement continuing to build here in the United States, he's giving us a look at what it takes to stay ready in some of the most intense environments in sports. Yassine, it's great to have you with us. How are you, my friend?
I'm good. What about you?
I'm doing okay myself. People recognize you from those viral moments around the game, but what do most people get wrong about what you actually do?
So I'm very happy to do that. I'm doing this job now since 5 years. I'm very grateful. It's a blessing for me to be on the best athlete history. I learned every day. I love him so much. I love my job, and it's amazing for me. I'm living the dream.
And you've been around some of the most passionate crowds in sports. What do you think makes soccer fan culture different than anything else?
Soccer, it's a very popular sport. Everybody around the world watching soccer. people from Europe, Africa, India, Asia. Soccer, it brings people together. So it's very exciting. And yeah, I think it's the most popular sport in the world.
Absolutely. When you're in a packed stadium or like a high pressure situation, what are you paying attention to that the rest of us probably don't even notice?
So before the game, I always go to the stadium like 10, 15 minutes before. I always go to check the sensitive area, sensitive spot when people, they can jump easy. So during the game, I'm always focused on this sensitive spot on the players. I don't watch the game at all. Even if you ask me how is the game going, I cannot tell you because I don't know. I just focused on my job, on the crowd of the players.
And you're surrounded by elite athletes every single day. What does your own training and preparation look like to stay on that level?
You know, I start to train at 13 years old. I'm training now for more than 30 years. I used to be a Muay Thai fighter in Thailand. So training, it's part of my life. I train every day. I eat healthy. I sleep good. And this helps me a lot to keep my mind in peace and to be in peace with people and with my work.
And you see nowadays so many soccer players and fans drinking the yerba mate. For someone that has never even tried it, what's the appeal and why has it become part of even your routine?
Yerba mate, it's very important for me. I'm drinking this now since 5 years. And yerba mate is a plant from South America. And it gives you focus, it gives you a boost. It's more than a drink. It's something you can share with your family, with your friends. And it's part of my life now. And you're gonna see a lot of soccer players during the World Cup drinking this because it helps you a lot for your performance in the field, off the field. Even if you are not an athlete, if you run a company or something, it's very good for your focus. You should try.
I actually love this stuff myself. Well, thank you for sending over one of these little packets for me again. If you want to learn more about yerba mate and traditions behind it, you got to visit yerbamadre.com. Thanks for joining me today, Yassine.
Thank you for having me.
Some people travel for the sights, some people travel for the food. Braun Strowman does both and usually orders enough for the whole table. The WWE superstar is back for another season of Everything on the Menu, where he visits some of America's best food cities, meets local legends, and tries everything from neighborhood favorites to high-end dining spots. Joining us now is Braun Strowman. Welcome to the show, my friend. How are you, my friend?
Oh, I'm fantastic. Just, the season is just unbelievable, man. It's truly cool to see the evolution of where we've gone from season 1 into season 2 with having the guest on the show. My production team in post-production did such an amazing job of filming this and editing it. It really, it makes you feel like you're part of that conversation. You're sitting at that table, you're breaking bread. And at the end of the day, that the idea of this whole show come about with this is my love for going out and taking people out to eat food, getting them to try new experiences in the culinary arts and walk of life, and just have fun. Food is a vessel to bring people together to get them together at the table for conversation. I had guests that I'd never met before, so I have new friends. So you're kindling relationships, you're catching up with old friends, you're falling in love. All centered around food. And why not do it with the biggest, baddest SOB on the planet? And you're looking at him right here with Braun Strowman every Friday night on USA Network. Life is absolutely awesome.
All right, this new season takes you to 12 different cities across the country. What were some of the places that really surprised you this time around?
Oh man, honestly, it's always evolving. I'm so excited. I mean, I'm 350 pounds. I didn't get this way by accident. So clearly I'm a foodie as at heart as it is. So for me, my day-to-day life, I'm eating out of a Tupperware. I'm weighing out all my proteins, my carbohydrates to the gram. So at the end of all that, like I said, doing this for weeks on end and then getting to do the Everything on the Menu is my escape as well. It's the ultimate cheat meal. It's getting out there. Not all calories are meant to be the best for your body, but some of them feed your soul. And I make sure I keep my soul fed. I make sure I keep this giant meat castle that I am fed, and then making memories and putting smiles on people's faces. At the end of the day, that's what I love doing. That's what I truly believe I was put on this earth to do, was to entertain and make people happy. And I'm enjoying and loving it along the way.
That's killer. When you spend years traveling for WWE, but the show gives you a chance to experience cities on a completely different way. What do you learn about a place when you sit down and just share a meal there?
it's really neat because how the format of the show with doing the 2 restaurants every episode, and that first half of the show being the signature dish for that city, for that region, and shining a light, proverbial light on some of these older restaurants that have been around. All those restaurants I do are 40, 50, 60, 70 years. And, some of them aren't up to date on their social media games and all this. So being able, and then knowing what we did in season 1 of having some of the highest, if not the highest demo ratings in that 18 to 44 is now knowing that these generational restaurants are getting seen by the next generation. I've talked to people that went to some of these restaurants and they live in the town of like, it's been there for 6 years. I didn't even know this restaurant was here. So hearing those stories, seeing prime example, Beefy King in Orlando is a roast beef sandwich shop that I went to in season 1. It's been open for almost 60 years. Every time I've gone there since we did that episode there, you can't even get into the parking lot. Before I headed out to start all the crazy media tour and all this other stuff, getting ready season 2 premiere that just happened June 5th. Walked in and there was 4 people standing in line that had saw the rerun of the episode the night before. We're in Orlando on vacation. We're like, we have to go to BB King. I walk in, their eyes lit up. No way you're here. They ordered my custom sandwich on it that they put on the menu. So it's really cool to see this resonating with the fans and continuing that buzz and, helping breathe life into some of these restaurants that have been around for a long time that aren't forgotten, but just somewhat aren't, the forefront of the food scene. And then the other half of the restaurant where I go in and do everything on the menu, that's where, you get this opportunity. These restaurants have this opportunity to show their full Rolodex to all the clientele and customers and foodies alike out there. And while all the great food shows that have been before me and stuff like that, you've got to see a little bit of here and there, 1, 2, 3, maybe 4 dishes. So with being everything on the menu and seeing this whole, here's my cards, here's what this restaurant has to offer. And then sitting down now, season 2, having a guest with me and being able to have the debates back and forth. What do you taste in this? How do you understand? What is your palate telling you? And then with mine as well. And then having the conversation, talking about life and everything else in between. And it just makes for, all honesty, I wish the show was longer. I think 30 minutes isn't enough.
The season features a pretty incredible mix of guests, from comedians to musicians to athletes and fellow WWE stars. And hopefully next season you bring in bad TV hosts of local TV shows. I'd be happy to have lunch with you.
Everybody likes to eat. Let's go. And don't put yourself down. We don't do that. Lift yourself up. You're a great TV host.
All right. Who else brought the most unexpected energy to the table?
Oh my goodness. Without telling too much, because you got to tune in live every week to watch, I can't be giving away too much. Honestly, it was special every episode. It's so cool because I had so many different walks of life and hearing people's stories and their backstories and what's got them to where they are, what continues to keep them pushing and evolving, and then what their love is for food. It was so cool to see people, starting to understand, or some of the guests that I had, I didn't know they were such foodies. So it's really cool to sit there and have that conversation, because that's the fun thing about food is everybody, it's a little different to everyone, and it's having that opportunity to have that conversation. And like I said, that food is the whole reason that it brings people together. So why not celebrate and eat everything on the menu?
Excellent. After visiting all these restaurants and meeting the people behind them, what do you hope viewers take away from the show, just beyond, just getting hungry watching you eat?
I think the biggest thing for me is trying to get people to step outside their normal comfort zone in their foods. I've discovered my motto in life is I'll try anything twice to make sure I don't like it, especially in the food space. So there's not much at this point that I haven't consumed in my life. That was the blessing that I had with being a WWE superstar for 12 years, traveling all around the world, getting to try so many different walks of life in the culinary space and falling in love with the different cooking techniques and the fusions and the ingredients and all that. And now with everything on the menu, almost every episode, I'm pretty sure, if not, it was few and far between, but I got the guests to try foods that they'd never tried before. So I'm hoping with my blue collar approach, and I'm not educated in the culinary arts. I've just been blessed to travel around and get to eat a lot. 350 pounds didn't happen by accident. And I guess the Lord blessed me with this giant tongue with a bunch of extra taste buds or something like that. I don't know. But that just being said, man, life's so cool, man. It's really neat. Like I said, getting to catch up with some of my friends, get to meet these new personalities and share bread and just talk about life. It just makes for a good time.
Braun, it's a pleasure to have you on the show. For more information and to catch new episodes of Everything on the Menu, check it out Friday nights on USA Network or head to usanetwork.com. Braun Strowman, thanks for hanging out with me, my friend. Summer is officially here, and whether you're loading up the car for a road trip or getting ready to host friends and family, it can feel like there's a lot to keep track of. So joining us with some smart ways to simplify summer travel and entertaining is lifestyle and travel expert Julie Loffredi. Julie, good to have you here. How are you?
Yeah, I'm doing great.
Okay, so travel, it's a huge part of summer. What is the top of your travel essentials list this year?
Well, there's so many things, but the big one is keep it simple, make a plan. Hydration is often overlooked when we're on the go. And a recent report from Liquid IV found that while most Americans know hydration is important, there is a hydration gap. Less than half of us actually feel hydrated daily. So that's why I'm loving Liquid IV's new hydration multiplier, sugar-free Ring Pop Cherry. It combines the nostalgic flavor with Live Hydra science. That's Liquid IV's science-backed hydration formula to hydrate faster than water alone. It makes for really a great option for road trips, flights, all those beach days we take during those busy summer adventures.
And parents are juggling a lot during the summer months. How can they make mealtime a little easier?
Yeah, so having a few easy meals in your back pocket means less time stressing about dinner, more time enjoying summer together. A new survey from Board and Cheese found that parents are craving simplicity more than ever during summer break, which is why I'm a big fan of having a few family-friendly recipes you can rely on. Board and individually wrapped singles make it easy to create simple and fun recipes like pizza, grilled cheese sandwiches, or Juicy Lucy cheeseburger sliders that both the kids and the grown-ups enjoy. So for more simple recipe inspiration, you can check out boardandcheese.com/simple summer fun.
And summer is supposed to be fun, but it can get hectic extremely quickly. What's your advice for making the most of the season without feeling overwhelmed?
Yeah, well, we've got a packed summer calendar in my household, lots of kid activities. The biggest thing for us is to keep things really well organized, plan things out, including all those fun meals, and also staying hydrated too.
All right, great advice, Julie. Where can people go for more information?
You can head to liquid-iv.com and also follow Borden_cheese on Instagram. They've got some weekly summer giveaways.
Julie, I want to thank you for joining me today.
Thanks so much. Happy summer.
Have you ever felt like money worries affect more than just your bank account? A new survey suggests many men tie their financial success to their sense of identity, and that pressure can take a real toll on mental health. Joining us today is Nathan Astle, a certified financial therapist with Beyond Finance, to help us better understand the connection between money, stress, and well-being. Welcome to the show, Nathan. How are you?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me.
Your research found that a lot of men still feel pressure to be the primary provider, but many say that's becoming harder to do. What's behind that growing stress?
Well, there's a lot of different factors, and one is this mismatch between what society expects of men versus what men feel like is important to them. One of the things in the Beyond Finance survey shows that 82% of men said that society still expects them to be the primary breadwinner. However, 70% of men said that's just not realistic anymore. There's rising costs, housing uncertainties, economic conditions. So we've got this situation where we've got yesterday's financial realities and yesterday's expectations in today's economy, and they're not matching up.
Why do you think money remains so closely tied on how many men view themselves and their role in the family?
A lot of men experience money as a sense of self-worth. If I'm doing well financially, then, I get to feel good about myself. But on the flip side, if there's financial struggle, it is more than just a financial struggle. It feels like an identity crisis. Who am I if this isn't a role that I can perform? And that really adds to the complexity of some of the financial stress.
And one finding said that men keep financial struggles to themselves. Why are so many suffering in silence, and what does that do to their mental health?
It's certainly not a good thing for our mental health. And we know that isolation makes pretty much everything worse. And it's that silence is really a key part of what makes this so harmful. One of the things in the Beyond Finance survey showed that over half of men have intentionally avoided a financial discussion or conversation with their partner because they felt like they're supposed to be able to handle it all. And it's in our isolation that we get stuck. So it's one of the first things that we want to push back against and do a little bit differently.
And for somebody feeling overwhelmed by financial pressure right now, what's the first step towards getting back on track emotionally and financially?
Yeah, our starting point is a gentle reminder here that financial struggle is not a character flaw. If you're having a hard time financially, this isn't about who you are. The second starting point is make sure you are focusing on some aspect of what you can control. It's really easy to get discouraged and feel like there's nothing we can do, but a little bit of empowerment of here's something under my influence is a good start. And finally, remember, you're not alone and you don't have to be alone. Talk to your family, talk to your friends, talk to your peers, your spouse, to a professional. Anybody that can be on your team and remind you this isn't something you need to burden alone.
All right, so where can people find more information and resources?
Yeah, great starting point is beyondfinance.com. They have a whole section of the website on financial wellness and how to have these conversations. So beyondfinance.com is a really great starting point.
Nathan Astle, I really want to thank you for joining me today.
Of course, thanks for having me.
Summer vacations seem to get more expensive every year, and for a lot of families, getting away can start feeling more stressful than relaxing. That's one reason more people are looking closer to home for summer fun. Carrie, Waible from Discover Boating joins us today to talk about why more Americans are spending time on the water and how boating may be more accessible than people think. Welcome to the show, Carrie. How are you?
I'm great, thank you. Who could be better? I'm out on the water.
So why do you think more families are rethinking the traditional summer vacation right now?
We're seeing a real shift, aren't we? People are really rethinking how they're going to approach that. And, we think about why we go on vacation. It's to build those memories. It's to disconnect from our everyday, to be with family and friends. And boating is something that delivers that every single time you're on board as soon as you leave the dock. So it's like a mini vacation and close to home. I mean, especially in the Tampa area, you're surrounded by the best water and all of the best boating areas. And, it's no wonder that so many people make boating part of their summer plans.
So how are fuel prices affecting the way people are boating this summer?
We find when gas prices rise, boaters continue boating, no matter what the price is at the pump. And they may just adjust the way that they're boating. I know personally as a boater, I may go a little less of a distance. I may trim my speed to conserve fuel. I may hang out at the dock and have a party one time out of every 3 that I plan to go boating just to conserve a bit, but certainly nothing's keeping me off the water.
So what are some of the biggest misconceptions that keep people from considering boating?
I think a lot of people, especially if they didn't grow up boating, may think that it's a little bit out of reach, whether that's due to time, money, know-how. But I'm here to tell you, you can make boating a part of your life no matter what. Your budget, no matter what kind of lifestyle you enjoy on the water. It is easier and more accessible than ever before to get out on the water.
And for somebody who's never really spent much time on the water, what's the easiest way to try boating this summer?
So I think one of the best ways to get started is to rent or charter a boat. We have this great tool at discoverboating.com. It's called the Go Boating Today tool. It's essentially a zip code finder where you punch in your zip code and it gives you rentals and charters in your area. You can do that with or without a captain. And get your friends and family together, split the cost, head out on the water for a half day, 4 hours on the water. You're going to feel like you got away from it all like that. And when you start to get a little bit more into it, and maybe you want to invest more time and money into it, you can certainly look at boat clubs, which are a super flexible option for families looking to have kind of a boat on demand and be able to make boating a part of their summer every single weekend.
And what is it about spending time on the water that creates such long and lasting summer memories?
Doesn't take an expert to tell you that. As soon as you pull away from the dock, you feel a million miles away. And because you are able to be in the moment, that means that you're available to reconnect with yourself, with your friends, with your family, with nature. And that's how we build memories, is by being present and being with each other and throwing all those distractions overboard, we'll say.
All right, where can people go for more information?
Discoverboating.com is the best place to get started. You can consider that your best friend with a boat. We have all the tips, tools, and resources you need to get out on the water and enjoy it.
Carrie Waible, I really want to thank you for joining me today.
Thank you so much for having us. We'll see you out here.
Have you ever wondered whether Americans are actually good at keeping up with home maintenance? A new global study looked at how homeowners around the world approach repairs, upkeep, and caring for their homes, and the results might surprise you. Joining us today is Angie Hicks, co-founder of Angie, to break down what they found. Welcome to the show, Angie. How are you?
I'm great. Thanks for having me, Dan.
Okay, can you tell us about this new study and some of the biggest things that you guys found?
Yeah, so we surveyed homeowners in a number of countries across the globe to understand how they view homeownership and maintaining their home. And in particular, while there's lots of differences, homeowners are very focused on the fact that they view their home as a sanctuary, and they want to make sure that they are maintaining it. And also kind of universal for homeowners was the importance of outside space. So backyard patios and making sure they have space to really extend that living area was a common theme across the board.
So what country ended up having the most proactive homeowners, and where do Americans fall on that list?
Yeah, so Americans are absolutely on the top of the list when it comes to proactive homeowners. 49% of homeowners are really focused on getting ahead on maintenance issues, and 72% of U.S. homeowners renovate to maintain the value of their home and the condition of their home, and that ties them in first place with Germany.
And when it comes to home maintenance and repairs, what's stressing United States homeowners out the most right now?
Well, when it comes to the stressors, it really comes down to budget as well as the time it takes and just the unexpected nature of home improvements. I mean, a lot of times we don't wake up and say, gosh, I hope my water heater breaks when the water heater breaks. So it's that I didn't have it built into my day. So when homeowners think about the cost of their home, a lot of times they think about the mortgage or the insurance. They should really set aside a budget for improvements and repairs. And a good rule of thumb is about 1 to 2% of the value of their home makes a good budget. And then you should go around and make a list of the condition of items around your house. Take a critical eye. Don't think about the budget at first. That way you can see what needs to be tackled and you're not surprised. And also make note of the age of big items in your house, like your roof or your air conditioner, so that you know when that's coming up to the end of its life and may need to be replaced.
And for people who feel like they've fallen behind on maintenance projects, where's one of the best places to start?
Well, you want to start small, and you should really, so once you've made that list of items that you need to tackle, look at the items that are related to safety or structural issues and start with the smaller ones on that list. And those are a good way to start marking some things off, gaining some confidence, and getting your house in tip-top shape.
All right, where can people go for more information?
You can go to Angie.com, that's ANGI.com. For the full study, as well as tips and maintenance articles and cost guides. So if you're not sure how much a project might cost, we can help you understand the cost involved with different projects.
Angie Hicks, it's a pleasure to have you on here.
Thank you.
And that is it for Rise Unwind. I want to thank you for tuning in and checking out the show. You can find us on social media. We're on Facebook, Instagram, and on YouTube. Just look up at Rise Unwind. And until next week, that was the show we like to call Rise Unwind.